Hello everyone, I'm Fozzie or Cam, and I'm here as always with my co-host Will. How you doing today, Will?
Doing great, Cam. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, especially because the New England Patriots have finally decided to put in Drake May. Um, do I 100% think that's gonna turn out good? No, I think Drake May might get badly beat up out there just due to how horrendous the Patriots' offensive line is. Um, But he just needs more experience. He needs more in-game experience, and I think honestly, he's just a better player than Jacoby Brissett is. So it's kind of a win, but he probably is going to get pretty battered up out there. But yeah, super excited to see that. And Will, what are your thoughts on Drake May starting for the Patriots this week?
Yeah, it's just rough because, you know, I feel like there are certain special players who can overcome being on a bad team and kind of, lift people up and have their talent overcome the non-talent around them. But even though Drake May was the third pick in the draft and this great college quarterback, that's not what I'm expecting of him. And that's what kind of makes this tricky here. Like, do I think it's necessarily a bad decision to start Drake May? No, you're 1-4 to start the season. You have completely fallen off the map since that incredible week 1 upset win over the Bengals.
And that pretty good Seahawks game.
For sure, yeah. But a change and a new spark at the quarterback spot could definitely be necessary here. So for that reason, I think turning to Drake May is good. But also, the Patriots are not a good football team this year, and I'm scared of what could happen to Drake May because of that. And I think we just have to set our expectations low from the standpoint of even if Drake May plays bad, that's not necessarily an indictment on him because it's not a good team around them. And if he was surrounded with great players, it might be a totally different storyline. So, I think it's a good decision from the standpoint of the Patriots need a spark right now. They're in a dark place, and maybe a quarterback change in Drake May can provide that. But this is just not a good team, and I feel like of all positions Drake May could be in to succeed and have a successful rookie year, this is not one of them.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's too bad. Like you said, it's the Patriots obviously just don't have a great team this year, so it's going to be difficult for him. But I think the main thing we're going for here, and we both kind of said this, was just getting him experience, getting him out there. He needs to experience real NFL game, not pre. I guess he experienced the last few minutes of the Jets game, but I mean that wasn't really anything. That was like what, a minute, maybe 2 minutes. Um, but yeah, he needs to play a full game as an NFL starter. Just even if we lose, I'll be happy if he plays good. I'll won't even be that mad if he plays bad. I mean, he kind of it's not the end of the world because it's his literal first starting game as an NFL quarterback. So I'll cut him some slack here, obviously. But I think the main thing for Drake is just to get him some experience. And obviously, we're not going to be any Super Bowl contender anytime soon, so I'm not worried about. I'm not even worried about the playoffs at this point. I'm just worried about building up these guys that we have, like Drake May.
Yeah.
Um, but something I really wanted to talk about today that we've been meaning to talk about for a while.
Oh
So
boy.
let's just start with that. We're both really big fans of Star Wars here on the Everything Podcast.
Yeah.
We want to see it succeed. We do. We really want to. We want the best for Star Wars. But I don't think Star Wars wants the best for itself. When
Uh, I know.
they put out projects which, I granted, I still hadn't seen it. Andor, which was really poorly reviewed, and from what I did see, it was mediocre. Although, I mean, I've heard other things from you, but it wasn't like a stellar review from you. It was a good review from you. Yeah, I don't want more mediocrity. And I especially don't want what we got in this stupid trailer for this new show with
Yeah.
really critically acclaimed actor Jude Law for some reason. Why would he agree to be in this show? Skeleton Crew is the newest stupid Star Wars project that I probably won't watch unless people say it's the best show of all time. Because why would I? Why would I ever watch this show? I'm being completely honest. What reason besides Jude Law being a good actor do I have to watch this show? I could only possibly watch for one Jude Law and for two the podcast. That's it. So people who don't like Jude Law like I do, and people who don't have a podcast like I do, why are they watching this show? It doesn't affect anything in the Star Wars universe. It doesn't have any returning characters. It doesn't look to have any good characters. It looks to have a bunch of kids. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. We got enough. We got enough of that. You know, it just looks horrible. I don't want to watch this show. It looks bad. It's a waste of money. It's like they're throwing money in the trash. This isn't gonna profit anything. You're not gonna get any new Disney Plus subscriptions from people who are really like, oh yeah, I really want to go watch Skeleton Crew. No one's subscribing to Disney Plus to watch that pathetic excuse for a show. What's even the point? What's even the point? And yeah, there's a show like Agatha, which we're gonna talk about in a few, which is the new Marvel show out. Which I mean, originally I was like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna like it, but I haven't seen it yet. No, I'm not gonna be like that for this abomination of an idea for Skeleton Crew. No, I'm not giving it any second chances. I'm not holding myself up for. I'm not like, well, maybe it could be good. No, it's gonna be bad unless it gets literally better reviews than any other Star Wars project in the last 5 years. Nope, I'm not watching the show. And I think honestly, this is the best way to get Star Wars to stop making these ridiculous shows that no one really wants. And people wanted an Acolyte show, an Acolyte type show for the Old Republic, but they didn't do that. They did something completely different, and they changed they changed the Star Wars canon essentially with the Acolyte. So they're just doing things that maybe they hear some people online say they want, but then do it completely wrong, you know? So, yeah, no one really wanted to watch this Skeleton Crew show. Once again, poor Jude Law. Why did he sign up to be in this show? It's too bad, to be honest. But yeah, this just waste of space, to be honest. A waste of file storage at Disney. That's what I'd say. Will, what are your thoughts on this, once again, this poor excuse for a Star Wars project?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with some positive when it comes to Star Wars. I'm actually one of the rare defenders of a lot of the recent Star Wars projects that have gotten not so good reviews, and I've actually loved a lot of the recent Star Wars content, in particular Ahsoka, last year. So I actually do feel like Star Wars, on the whole, is in a great spot right now, and I'm really looking forward to stuff like The Mandalorian and Grogu movie and Ahsoka Season 2. That being said, Skeleton Crew, and I know Andor was critically acclaimed. It was not my thing. Um, so I think for me, Skeleton Crew looks like what Skeleton Crew looks like is that it'll be, along with Andor, a low point in this Star Wars
That's
TV
safe
era.
to say.
I've actually loved pretty much all of the Star Wars shows that they've put out recently, besides Andor. That being said, though, Skeleton Crew, nothing about it compelled me. Absolutely, positively nothing. I thought it looked really, really bad. And look, what do I say? I don't care what you do, just do it well. You want to make a Star Wars show with kids? Okay. Not necessarily something I'd be wild about, but
Yeah.
if you do it well, I'm going to bow down to you. That trailer did not look like doing it well to me. I thought acting of the kids in the trailers did not look good. And I think what that can be blamed on is that the writing for the kid characters also looked, I thought, absolutely atrocious in that trailer. So it is going to take a lot to bring me to sit down to watch even one episode of Skeleton Crew. Because even though I love Star Wars and I've loved a lot of their recent content, I could not be less excited for this show. I think it just looks
Yeah.
like an all-time Star Wars low point.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's who wanted this? No one. No one wanted this show. And like you said, yeah, I like most of what Star Wars put out. Let me backtrack on that. I like some of what Star Wars has put out. I like Mandalorian seasons 1 through 2. I like a few episodes of Boba Fett, but overall the show was a mess. Oh yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi was terrible. What else? Andor was, I don't know, maybe that was just me, but I found it just uninteresting. And then Acolyte, I won't give my thoughts on Acolyte. We talked about that before. Like, it's been, I think for me it's been kind of inconsistent, but as of late it's just going straight down. They made Ahsoka, which was like the peak of Star Wars TV, then it just went down, straight down from there. So hopefully with Ahsoka season 2, they don't completely ruin it. That would be bad. That would be really bad. I have to say. So yeah, it's really disappointing that Star Wars can't seem to really make a really good project ever again. I think the last time they did that was Force Awakens. I really like Solo. I think the last time they made a project that I really liked was Solo. That was in 2019. So yeah, they've really struggled. And yeah, I liked Mando and I liked Ahsoka, but just not as much. I don't love The Mandalorian. I like The Mandalorian. It's a show that I like, but I don't love it like I love Solo or love Force Awakens or a lot of other Star Wars movies. Honestly, I have more love for Revenge of the Sith than I have for a lot of these Disney shows, and
Wow.
that's saying something because Revenge of the Sith is,
Ooh,
I
wow.
mean, oftentimes referred to as just a terrible movie, and yeah, there are a lot of flaws in that movie. It's a kind of a boring movie, to be honest. But the highs in that movie are way better than most of the highs in most of the Star Wars shows. So that's that. I just had to get that off my chest because I mean we said it before the show. Will we just love ranting about Star Wars here on the podcast? I just had to express my disgust with that. At this point, with this annoying franchise, that's what I'll say.
I mean, in support of Star Wars, in my opinion, I don't think this will continue. I think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and Ahsoka season 2 will be strong content. So I have hope for what's to come. I just think Skeleton Crew, as you've said, will be an all-time low point for them.
Yeah, it's too bad, you know, but especially because it's Star Wars legendary franchise. Yeah, miss just continues to miss the mark. And speaking of missing the mark, Marvel, who didn't miss the mark this time around on their newest show, Agatha All Along. I keep wanting to call it Agatha House of Harkness and Agatha Coven of Chaos because they kept switching the names. I'm actually convinced that, I mean, they said it was all part of the marketing. I'm kind of convinced that it wasn't part of the marketing. They just couldn't settle on a name, and they had to think of something, and then that actually ended up working, the marketing strategy. So I don't know. That's just a theory I have, but I really like this show. Now, obviously, tonight's episode hasn't even come out yet, but where do we leave off? Episode 4. Yeah, I am really enjoying this show so far. I think this is Catherine Hahn's role. She is Agatha Harkness, and I've really enjoyed watching her out there. I'm also a huge fan of Aubrey Plaza, and she's been truly amazing as this character. She is in every character she plays. She gives every character she plays this certain vibe to it, and it works every time. So I've been happy to see her, especially because I like her in Parks and Recreation so much. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this show. I think it surpassed my expectations, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be horrible. It looked like a Disney show, like a Disney kids show, but it's not. It's something else. It's a little deep, goes a little deeper than that, you know. And that's not exactly something you'd expect. There are a lot of twists and turns. It looks to be that haven't even been revealed yet, which is super fun to see. I like the concept with the houses each episode. It's really cool. I like the character played by Joe Locke. Like how we don't know who he is yet. It's a cool concept. Yeah, I think all the acting in the show is superb. The visual effects all look great, which is something that cannot really be said for a lot of Marvel projects, maybe aside from the new Deadpool project, and that's about it. The visual effects have kind of been an issue with new Marvel content. I think it was first apparent in the well, I think actually it was first apparent in Black Widow, with that one infamous scene with let's see, with Yelena jumping off the thing that was falling from the sky. I have to rewatch that movie. There was a lot of stuff that I forget. I forgot about that thing in the sky. Yeah, with Yelena jumping off that thing in the sky. Yeah, the visual effects were rough there. I think that was kind of the start of the downfall for Marvel's visual effects. And it's not the visual effects artist's fault. I think we probably even said this on the show before. It's Marvel's fault. They're overworking their visual effects artists, which leads to worse products. You know, and some are better than others. You know, like No Way Home, I think is flawless in terms of visual effects. To be honest with you, and Deadpool and Wolverine is mostly flawless. There are a few things that look weird, but that'd just be me nitpicking. But it looks like they're just finally getting on the up and up because this show looks perfect. Deadpool and Wolverine look really good. So I'm glad they're finally giving their visual effects artists who do arguably the hardest job in Marvel, aside from maybe Kevin Feige's job. I'm glad they're finally giving them time to do their job, you know, and make a really good product. So how have you been liking Agatha so far, Will?
Yeah, so the first two episodes, episodes 1 and 2, um, definitely definitely surprised me, and not that I didn't deeply respect Catherine Hahn as an actor, but this show made me realize, like, has made me realize that, you know, even though I knew she was great, I may not have understood just how truly great she was, because she is obviously a an extremely talented actor who can more than hold her own as the lead of the show. And the first two episodes definitely exceeded my expectations. I enjoyed the show then. Something about these last two episodes, though, episodes 3 and 4, just haven't been my favorite. I wasn't as compelled as the first two. So I just I guess I just feel like the writing wasn't as good in episodes 3 and 4. I wasn't as gripped nearly by the performances as I was in episodes 1 and 2. The stuff with the houses, you know, like it's a compelling concept. I just feel that they could have done it better. So we'll see where the show goes. But so far, I would say episodes 1 and 2 exceeded my expectations, and episodes 3 and 4 were more what I was expecting from the show going into it.
Yeah, I, I don't know. I think for me, the show has changed, but not in the term of quality, just in the term of like the way the show is. The first episode, it was just not even like a witch episode. It was a cop drama for half of it. So yeah, that just there was definitely a shift. But I think that was the shift for me. It just changed. The show changed, and I like actually I like the musical aspects of it a little bit. It's really fun. Oh, and that reminds me something we forgot to put on the list today. I got to talk about this. Oh, this is a good segue too. But let me just finish my thoughts here. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this show wraps up. I want to see how it ends, especially because the twist with the character played by Joe Locke.
Yeah.
I'm clueless at this point. I don't even know what this is gonna be. And Mephisto was name dropped finally. who's been supposedly behind everything in WandaVision, but obviously it wasn't. It was Wanda behind everything. Spoiler alert. You should have watched that show. It came out like 3 years ago. Um, but anyway, so there's this little movie that came out a few days ago called Joker. Foley I do. So, Joker 2019 is a very popular film where Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor in a Leading Role at the Oscars, which super prestigious award, well deserved. I think it's a really good movie. I don't love it as all other people, but I still really like this movie. I don't think it's like one of the best movies of all time or anything, but I think it's a really, really well made movie with a really cool concept that it pays homage to a lot of really cool movies, like I don't know, a lot of Martin Scorsese movies actually. It pays homage to, which is a really cool thing that it does without like stealing from it. And so when it gets announced, Joker 2 is being made. Wait, what? What? Wasn't Joker a standalone movie? Okay, I mean, I really like Joaquin Phoenix. How can it be bad? Lady Gaga's in it. She's playing Harley Quinn. Whoa, Harley Quinn? That's really cool. She's a really cool character. I really like Margot Robbie's interpretation of the character, so I'll probably like Lady Gaga too, because she's a really good actress. It's gonna be a musical. What? I mean, I like musicals, and I was shocked by that announcement. So, and I think the fact that I like musicals helped me get more excited for this project. So I was like, okay, it's a musical? That's going to be an interesting take. I can actually see that working. Then we see the first trailer, and kind of actually blown away, honestly. And I think we discussed it on the trailer. I was really impressed. It looked like both the performances were good. I was like, yeah, there's no way this is bad. Then the reviews came out? What? What? 30s on Rotten Tomatoes? The 30s? I can't even remember the last movie I was thinking about seeing with a 30 on Rotten Tomatoes. What? In lower score in the audience section than in the critics. When do you ever see that? Especially with a movie like Joker. That compels me to see it even more. Because I just think to myself, there is no way that this movie is bad. There's no way. That was my mindset from the jump. There's no way this is bad. Todd Phillips is a great director, directed the first one. Joaquin Phoenix doesn't even do bad movies. Lady Gaga doesn't even do movies that much, so when she does them, they're probably going to be good. So I go see it.
Oh no.
And I really like it.
Oh, good.
I really enjoyed this movie. I you know what? Well, I was watching this movie. It was about to end, and then it ended. I sat there and I was so confused, kind of by the ending, which I will get to in a sec. But I was mainly confused. I thought I was being pranked. I was like, I'm gonna check my phone and I'm gonna look at Rotten Tomatoes and it's gonna say 100%. Why did people not like this? I was so confused as to why this got such negative reception. That there's no reason for that. Maybe it was because it was a musical. People don't like musicals. Maybe that's why. I don't see it. I mean, I think it's not as good as the first one, but the first one's a great movie. It's like a 8 out of 10. This was what, 7.5 and 8, maybe. I think maybe the first one's an 8.5. Maybe this is an 8 or 7.5. I don't know, around that. It's a really good follow-up, and it's hard to make a sequel for a movie that, in all fairness, shouldn't really have a sequel. But, I mean, if they're going to do it, they might as well do something completely different and blow away my expectations. I never thought this was going to be a musical, but it is, and it works. And there are issues I have with this. Lady Gaga isn't really in the movie, which is
wow.
weird.
That's really strange.
I mean, she's an important character, but she's not in it as much as you'd think. The ending, people were really upset about. Really upset about. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be something awful. It's gonna be like, oh, it was all a dream. No, it wasn't that. I'm not gonna say what it was, because Some people like you haven't seen the movie, but it wasn't that. It was something that I didn't expect to happen, but I happened. It was like, whoa, that's really cool. Actually, it's a cool idea. There are a lot of cool ideas presented in this movie, and I think the big factor deciding on if you like this movie is just, are you intrigued by these ideas presented? I was, and that's why I really like the movie. And once again, I also really like musicals. So I didn't have really a single big issue with this. I thought the performances were really good. Maybe an issue was it kind of only takes place in Arkham Asylum and in the courtroom. I I don't care. I don't care where it takes place as long as it's a good movie. People were upset about that. Here's the main thing, though. I think people wanted Joker to be this evil mastermind who fights the Batman and stuff. I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I knew that was never going to happen with this Joker. It just wasn't. It's a different movie. It's not trying to do that, you know? It was never trying to do that. So I don't know why people are so disappointed by that fact. And there's no reason that this should have a lower score on, what is it, Cinema Score, than Madam Web does. It's disrespectful to Todd Phillips to do that. There's no reason to do that. It's a far better movie. It's a really good movie. And I think 5 years people are gonna be like, you know, I really like Joker too. And yeah, then people will like it. It's beautifully shot, beautifully acted. The script might not be as strong as the first, but like I said, it's a slight drop down, never so slight. So there are a few things that are lesser than the first, but that's to be expected with any sequel. And like I said, especially one that wasn't technically supposed to be made. So I mean, I think you should go watch this movie and see for yourself. And I think you should go watch this movie because it supports people doing wacky ideas for movies that you wouldn't really expect. And I think sometimes it works better than others, like that whole completely subverting your expectation thing. And for me, this worked. It was not what I expected it to be, and I was really happy with it. I honestly sat there for 5 minutes, just what, why, what was bad about it? That honestly happened. So yeah, I really like Joker 2 fully. I do. I'll give it a 7.5.
Awesome.
Do you have any interest in watching this?
I'm not sure. Uh, some of my friends were expressing potential interest in going to see it. So if they're gonna go see it, then I probably will go see it. Like would I be interested in seeing it myself? Not necessarily, but if I have friends who end up seeing it, then I'll probably see it too.
Yeah. Are you gonna watch the original before? I recommend you do.
I would probably have to.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you heard my complaints with the movie, but they're not that serious. You know, I just don't get why people hated and hated and hated on this movie for, I mean, what seemed to me like no real reason, you know? Um, Finally, I just want to wrap up this episode with, something that is actually kind of close to both of our families. Bob Dylan. The Coughlin side of our family, which is our family's name, really likes Bob Dylan. And are you a fan of Bob Dylan, Will?
I haven't. I haven't listened to him that much, so I would need to listen to him a ton more before I could give you an official opinion. But is his music stuff that you enjoy?
I've just recently started to get into him. I've listened to a few albums. I listened to Freeble and Bob Dylan, a few other songs of his, you know. Just so, like I said, just kind of breaking the surface of Bob Dylan. Just really good music. I mean, it's so just pure music, you know. The guy's a genius, you know. He experiments with everything, genre switches. I love when artists switch up genres, especially in the hip hop industry. But I am really impressed by the guy, you know. Then, man, Timothy Chalamet, Bob Dylan, movie trailer, boom! Oh, it looks so good. Did you watch the new trailer for the Bob Dylan movie?
I did.
How did you like it?
I would say if I had to compare it to the first trailer, I think the first trailer is a bit better. I'd say the first trailer hooked me a bit more just with the use of the song A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. So if I had to like pick between the two trailers, the first trailer was more the one that made me say, "Oh, this is a must-watch movie. I have to go see it." Great trailer. I would say the second trailer was good. I just wouldn't put it quite on the quality of the first trailer, but it's still a movie that I will definitely go see, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. But what were your thoughts on the new trailer?
I was blown away. I really like Timothy Chalamet, and he can do anything. He give him any role, and he will probably do a really good job. I have never seen an actor who can. I mean, yeah, I've seen actors who can kind of do this. I mean, I can't say that, but he give him any role, musical, comedy, drama, action, anything. He can do it really well. Give him a character, give him someone who's alive currently to impersonate, and he'll impersonate him without offending Bob Dylan, without you know making it look like a fool. And I just want to kind of run back to that. I don't know if you've heard. There's a new Aaron Hernandez
I have heard, yeah, I
Yeah,
have
there's a
heard.
new show on Aaron Hernandez coming on, and I'm not here to talk about Aaron Hernandez or anything. I'm here to talk about how the Patriots are portrayed in that show.
Oh boy.
They have people playing Bill Belichick.
Oh, okay.
Well. When we end the podcast, just watch the scene with Bill Belichick. All right, so there's a scene. The scene I saw, because I'm not watching that show. It's getting really bad reviews. I have no interest in it, to be honest with you. But there was scene was Belichick was in a draft was drafting out Hernandez, right? He was in the draft room with Krafts, right? And the guy who played Belichick, not really a big actor. So they had Belichick with a sweatshirt on, with the sleeves cut off, just sitting there eating a bag of chips and having a soda. Let me just say, Belichick has never done that in a draft. Belichick does that in post-game interviews, and that. Then they had him do all the Belichick stereotypes ever in that one 5-minute clip, like the mumbling and the grumpiness and the sweatshirt. It was just a mockery. He was making a mockery of Bill Belichick,
Wow.
right? And then they had Rob Gronkowski be portrayed in the show, and he's like a fool, disrespectful. They should have just had Gronk play Gronk. He's like the same as he was then, so they should have just done that. So with Bob Dylan, it could be an issue with someone who has that unique of a voice as Bob Dylan, It could be an issue to just be him, but it's not. He does it flawlessly and with a lot of respect, and that's something I can really respect about Timothy Chalamet. He's doing his own thing, but while staying true to Bob Dylan. And his own singing sounds awesome. And I'm actually just happy to be able to get into Bob Dylan's music, I feel like this movie coming out is kind of just an excuse to me to dive deep into his discography. So, yeah, I'm super excited for this movie. Yeah. That about wraps up this episode of the Everything Podcast. Will, thanks for joining me as always. Great episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you next time.